Hello, welcome to US History A, Unit 5. This is kind of just a wrap up of everything that happened, and mostly, a wrap up of post Civil War and of what happened after that. Okay, so lesson 21 is about reconstructing a broken nation and about the reconstruction plans. And the truth of it is, Abraham Lincoln died in the very pinnacle of his presidency. Okay, and he just at the high point of everything. The war had just been won, and he had a plan for reconstruction. We're not really sure exactly what it was, but we know that he did have it, and we think that it was fairly kind to the southern states. But that didn't matter because instead we had President Johnson who came in, and that caused all sorts of problems. He was eventually impeached, and the radical Republicans took over Congress and passed a lot of amendments that honestly wouldn't have been passed for at least another 100 years. Okay, so one was the 13th Amendment that got rid of slavery. That's a pretty big deal. And then the 14th Amendment granted all its people the right to American citizenship, not depending on their ethnic diversity. And the 15th Amendment was the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any states on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. So it gave, it let the slaves out of slavery, and it gave them the rights to be basically human and the rights to vote. Okay. It would take a little while before that would really happen. We had the Jim Crow laws that happened for another 100 years, guys. Okay, this is not this didn't this took a long time to get used to. And we had colored fountains and white fountains. We had colored seats and white seats. This is a lot of lesson 22, and it talks about the Jim Crow laws, and they weren't nice. Okay, there was this idea that of separate but equal, but really separate can never be equal. Okay, this is kind of how it looked. All right, on the white end it was like this, on the black end it was like this. Okay, so you can see from that political cartoon that separate was not equal. All right. And I have a discussion post that I want you to go through on lesson 22 that still shows today and shows us how far we've come. And we have come pretty far, but there's still quite a ways to come. But I'll get through this first and then I'll go back to the discussion post, okay? In lesson 23, you'll learn about the West, populism, Transcontinental Railroad was where the two railroads were joined. I've actually been to where they were joined in the middle of Utah. Trust me, it is in the middle of Utah. It really is. But it was kind of a fun place to go visit because they have a party like every year on the anniversary, which is kind of cool. Talks about the American Indian Wars and what was going on with that, and farming and what was happening with that. Okay, the next lesson is about big business. And, there was the second industrial revolution, which was coming up. And there were a lot of things that were being invented. Monopolies and robber barons were also a thing. There was a lot of child labor at this time. Growth of the unions, growth of that happening. And then we have lesson 25, which is called Yearning for Freedom. Okay, and it talks about all of these different people, and so it was not only the African Americans, but it was also the women's rights and the poor rights and stuff like that was all happening. Okay, so I will tell you about discussion 22 because it's actually one of my favorite. Okay, and this is the discussion guide that you're going to go through, and you're going to watch a video about race and about how it is still a problem. It's gotten a lot better, but it is still a problem. Okay. This was filmed in 2020 with the whole Black Lives Matter thing coming out, but it's not that much longer. Okay. It's still a problem. Step 2, I want you to highlight unfamiliar words, highlight which question you think is the most applicable to you, tell me why, and then tell me what you have learned about the history of how Blacks have been treated since the Civil War and what is still happening in America for families. What do you think could be the way to change what's going on? Okay, then put them together, put it as the discussion post, and everything will be well and good and fine and wonderful. All right. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.